Heyo folks, this is Ham the Guinness Gamer here, bringing you my Ashes of Creation Caravan PvP update summary, the live stream that was put out by Stephen Sharif and Co. in January 2024. The purpose of this is just to summarise all the key pieces of information that were included in that live stream without you having to watch the full 90-minute video for yourself. So without further ado, let's get into it. As with all the live streams, Stephen starts by underlining the fact that everything that we see here, and I'm showing a lot of the gameplay in the background here, everything we see is a work in progress. That's constantly the case. Everything can change. He specifically highlighted the fact that the user interface, the visual effects, and the character models and lighting all require more work. Devs are actively working on such, so don't be taking everything you see in the background as gospel. This will all improve with time over the next few months, and of course in Alpha 2 and beyond. So the highlight of this live stream, of course, was Caravans. So that's what I'm going to discuss first. First thing about Caravans is there's a high element of the risk versus reward system in the Caravan system, and that's something that Ashes of Creation generally is implementing quite commonly across different mechanics in the game. The caravans are used to transport materials and commodities, and the caravans, of course, can be attacked and destroyed as this PvP in the background is showing. The commodities in the caravan get looted and they become, assume the caravan is destroyed, the commodities get looted and they become commodity certificates to the looters, and then the materials are just the same materials when they're looted. When the caravans are destroyed, they drop the crates that they were carrying, and the crates provide more resources to the looters by not being opened when they're looting it. Instead, the looters should summon their own caravan and then transport those crates back to a town, and that's how they'll get the max resources out of them. If you open the crates by hand, some of the resources are lost. The caravans do have a progression path though that gives certain benefits, like being able to look into the crates to see what's in them without actually opening them. Stolen goods can then be sold to the black market, but not to your regular vendors. Black market is part of the marketplace upgrade tree. Not all marketplaces will have them. The caravan that you're summoning then to take away the goods after you've destroyed the original caravan, and the caravan can be summoned at any point. You can summon it during combat if you feel like taking that risk. Obviously there's a time delay on when the caravan arrives, so that's the reason why you would do that, to try and get your own caravan there ASAP and get away from that area as soon as possible as well. The time that the caravan takes to summon to you depends on what city you're actually summoning your caravan from, i.e. what city you have it stored in. Because that's where it comes from. Also, whenever a caravan is actually destroyed, the caravan components, the individual components, also get destroyed. Players can also take over driving someone else's caravan or someone else's vehicle in general. That includes ships. After a lockout period, they can then take it somewhere to destroy it there. But if you leave it to a town, it will actually turn in for the original owner. So obviously the looters don't want to do that. Driving it though pings the location of the vehicle to the owner and maybe their whole raid group. It eventually despawns depending on the proximity of the original owner, and the despawn will drop the caravan loot. Generally speaking, only the raid group and the owner can see the caravan on the map. However, if you're nearby, you can get an event UI that asks you if you want to participate as a defender or an attacker in the actual caravan fight. There's also a social organisation that will allow you to make empty crates that look full for creating decoy caravans, as you can generally see how full caravans are. So that's one thing I've discussed before when we did the caravan live stream a couple of months ago, that when you look at the caravan, you can actually see how many crates it has and whether it's actually carrying a significant number of goods or not, and therefore whether it's worth attacking. But of course this adds an extra element to that, where somebody could be putting out a decoy caravan out there with loads of empty boxes that look like full boxes because they have invested their skill points or whatever it is in that social organization tree, and then they'll have their actual caravan elsewhere probably. Obviously that's the reason why you would have a decoy one on the road. When you then arrive back at the town with your caravan, you have to talk to the caravan master. You then open your caravan and you open your crates to get the resources. The crates then have to get unpacked, and this takes time, generally in real life days. It'll take quite a significant amount of time, but this can be decreased greatly by node upgrades. And then when these get unpacked, those items will unpack into the player inventory, and then, as I say, then they can be sold for cash. Then once you finally get them into your inventory, quite a large part of this live stream showed the caravan actually turning into a raft on the river, which I'm showing here in the background. So caravans occasionally might have to ford rivers if the bridges have not been constructed, and bridges are part of node advancement, and the roads also are part of the node advancements. So the nodes will upgrade as well. Better roads equals better road buff, which is increased speed for the caravan on the road. But then if there's no bridge, obviously if the node hasn't advanced far enough to get a bridge, or they haven't invested the right node upgrades to build bridges, then there'll be certain times where you actually have to use the caravan raft system and you have to go by river. Now to get the caravan to actually cross the river, you just walk the caravan into the water. You then convert it to a raft, which will take a few minutes. Then you have to wait on it there, obviously converting, and if anybody attacks you, you have to defend it, because the enemies can target the dock while it's transitioning into a raft. And if you choose to undo the transition, this will take the same length of time that you've already spent actually unpacking it. So often it won't make sense to do that really. When you're on the river, then when you have the raft on the river, there's a current system in the rivers. So the current varies depending on the position and the strength of the river, and this will increase or decrease your speed while traveling on the river. The raft can get attacked while it's on the river, and it can get attacked from shore as well. You can then land the raft and retransition back into the original caravan exactly how it was. You'll need to land in a logical location. There aren't loads of beaches on which to do so, so knowing the local map will be a huge benefit. And the raft stats are generally based on the caravan stats. So just some other wee pieces of information that were included in the live stream, not specifically about caravans, but things that seem like new information to me. So a secondary archetype selection only augments abilities of your primary archetype. It doesn't create new abilities. Also then, weapons are universal and they have their own skill tree. Weapon skills can synergize with archetype skills. You have access to friendly players, so guildmates and family members and things like that, and party members, raid members. You have access to their exact HP. However, when it comes to enemy or potential enemy players, you don't see their exact HP, but you'll see a fraction instead. So you'll see that they have half health or a quarter health. You can improve this slightly to give you a wee bit more information, so it'll bring you down to how many sixths of health they have or how many eighths of health they have, say, but you'll never be able to see their exact HP. Now that's only for players. You will be able to see the exact HP, the exact health of NPCs in PvE content. Moving on then about ships. Ships can only be spawned at harbour locations apparently, and ships can't go on rivers, so only the caravan rafts can go on rivers. And then there's mention of stealth as well. Rogues will have true stealth with full invisibility, which is obviously what we expect. But this live stream showed for the first time the ranger has a camouflage ability, which can be seen from afar with a slight shimmering effect. The closer you are to them, the more you can see them. So that's different from a rogue. But if you're far enough away, it would probably be easy enough to miss the ranger unless you're really looking out for them. Now the mage also has an arcane eye ability that actually reveals stealth and camouflage, which would be very useful. I'm assuming some other classes will have something similar to knock characters out of stealth, but equally then those stealthy characters might have different options with which to counter those abilities, but we'll see in time obviously. Another thing that was mentioned then, you won't be able to change the terrain in Ashes of Creation. but different buildings can be placed on different slope gradients by using stilts when building them. There will be mass resurrection abilities that can work in combat. These can be vehicle abilities as well as archetype abilities. And the last couple of things then, specific organizations will have very specific roles. Sounds like players won't be able to create their own organizations, and by organizations I mean the likes of the religious organization, or maybe a thieves guild or a merchants guild or something like that. Of course, players are going to be able to create their player alliances or player guilds. That's they're separate from the organizations. Lastly, then, tamed creatures will have to go through the animal husbandry system to be able to be used. But any creatures that are given as like quest rewards or anything like that, they won't have to go through the animal husbandry system. They will be able to be used immediately. So this live stream was a relatively short one. There's a wee bit less information in it. A lot of it was actually just watching the PvP content, which, as I say, I've been showing the whole time in the background here, which is quite good. It looked like a fun fight. It was very one-sided, but of course they had it that way because they had to have control over how it turned out, and they had to win and destroy the caravan and then bring their own back to the town. But still, it's very promising where it's going, and it is a good watch. But as for that, I think I've covered all of the important information that's been included. If you've liked this video, feel free to give me a subscribe and a like, or any comments to make down below. Go on ahead. But for now, wherever you are, goodbye and good luck.